Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Nuff channel. In this video we're looking at the Rabbitohs, South Sydney, as part of our team-by-team preview for the 2025 NRL SuperCoach season. So I think I've said this for almost every team that has been on this series so far, and probably will do so for the rest, but there is some interesting talking points with this team. I guess, probably the biggest point is not in this lot of 30 or 26 players, but the man behind the scenes, Wayne Bennett, coming down to South Sydney, and what that obviously means for the players. So starting at fullback, Latrell Mitchell, everyone's hyped up. He's looking super fit pre-season, ready to rip. And I've seen a lot of teams going with the triple fullback gun strategy. Have locked him in alongside Kalen Ponga, Tom Trbojevic. I personally have him at number 4. I just have Scott Drinkwater slightly above, just based on value. But I can definitely see why people would be interested in getting Latrell into their team. So we know the value there, or the upside there, so if you like Latrell, get him in. Jai Gray, we know, is a pretty handy backup, but that's all he is. Potentially could, in an alternate sort of world, could find himself in the 7, but I think they see him as a fullback, and I think that's how they will treat him in this season. Centre wing line, I think the centres are locked in with Jack White and Campbell Graham. After that, there's a little bit of unsureness, but you'd imagine Tyrone Munro will take one wing spot, and it sounds like Isaiah Tass will fill in the other wing. The question is just which wing is which, given Alex Johnston is still out with an Achilles, but should come back at some point this year, and he traditionally plays left wing, which is obviously the side you want to be on in this team with Latrell, Cody Walker, Jack Whiten inside of you. It's a pretty handy spot to be. So the question is, do they just plonk Munro on the right, and that's his spot for the year? Or do they sort of just absolutely load up on that left edge, particularly given Johnston's age? They might sort of be looking a bit to the future and saying that, well, Munro, is the future on the wing. I guess, it might be wishful thinking on my part, but if he's on the left wing, I think he's locked in. Even if he's on the right wing, I don't think it's the worst spot to be. We know he scores tries. The work rate's a little bit questionable, but there is value in that price. If Isaiah Tass is starting on the left wing, well, I think I'm starting him at 327. So it's one of these guys. It just depends on who gets the start. I guess the other option is it could be Fletcher Myers. He showed a bit last year at 322. That's good value as well if he's playing on that left wing. If he's on the right wing, he won't have the goal kicking while Latrell's in the team. So he might be a potential fade in that case. Alex Johnston, again, coming back from Achilles. So, it would only be if you saw he was back and hitting the ground running that you'd trade him in mid-season. In the halves, Cody Walker, we know what he's capable of. So potential point of difference at 5'8". If Lewis Dodd doesn't work out in the halves, he could even go back to 7, widen in the 6. But I think, they're going to go with Cody Walker at 5'8", Lewis Dodd at halfback. Jamie Humphries, the backup halfback, I guess, looks good with an average of 104 in his one game he played for Manly last year. Definitely don't expect that if he gets a starting spot at 7 there. But Lewis Dodd, I think similar to Ilias will probably be the less dominant half despite being the seven. Um, they do love that left edge combination at Souths. Um, so probably better, cheaper options in the halfback position as a halfback cheapie. Um, but yeah, if you see something from him and he does look like he's about to go up in price, could be one to jump on. In the forwards, so with Damien Cook gone, looks like Mamazelis is finally going to get a decent crack at hooker. So I think, he is one to bring into the team, um, into your Supercoach teams, that is. There is a world where I can see myself fading him, but it is relying on a few other teams to do things that I hope they're going to do with their team. Billy will probably just be that bench cover, covers lock and hooker. Um, so not really super coach relevant. The front row, so with the talk that Arrow probably goes back out to the edge, I think it's Totola and Kepi to start, Mawali off the bench. Although Mawali could push for a starting spot, um, and potentially Shaq Mitchell would be the other middle forward, but not a lot of depth there. Um, but as you can see as well from their scores, not a lot of value. There's not a lot of flashy plays in these guys. They just do the work and you know let the boys outside do their thing. Second row, I guess the two main talking points usually Cam Murray, Kalamatangi. Sounds like Murray's going to play on the edge, and particularly if he plays on that left edge, it just adds to the excitement of it all. Kalamatangi playing at lock has been quite good, so whichever way they sort of play those two, um, don't know if there's a lot of value. You probably pay for what you get with those guys, but they have outscored that in the past as well. So could be worth a punt. I think Jai Arrow, as I said, is the favourite for the other spot. I think Ewan Aitken is probably not going to get back in time for round one. But if he did, he is obviously the type of player that Wayne Bennett likes. And obviously then Arrow would free up into that middle rotation. So, if Aiken's fit, I think he's in there. Tallis Duncan, I guess people are waiting for that breakout. Could it be this year? It depends. And then Josh Schuster, a lot of people have talked about um, in terms of, if he slotted in on that left edge, between Walker, Jack Whiten, you know, it's a very tasty, attacking looking edge. Latrell Mitchell sort of inserting himself in there too. Um, but I think he's a wait and see. I don't think he's currently in the thoughts for round one. Like I said, I've heard Murray's going to be back from his injury. He was touted to be out, but sounds like he's in. Um, they've got Kalamatangi, Arrow, Aitken, probably all ahead in the pecking order there. So yeah, so that's the Rabbitohs in terms of super coach and relevance there. I like Latrell as a potential option. Whoever gets a left wing spot, I'm probably going to start in my squad. Um, it is tempting some of these forwards, like Totola or Mawale as a cheap front rower, um, or cheapish, I should say. They're not bottom dollar cheapies by any stretch. Murray and Kalamatangi as underpriced premiums, perhaps. Schuster, if he did get the start on that left edge in the second row, you'd have to consider putting him in the team. And then Mamazelis as well, I think is a pretty safe, cheap hooker option. So, um, yeah, like I said, there is other options that I like a bit more for upside, but they don't necessarily have the job security that Mamazelis appears to. have. So, yeah, we'll wrap it up there. If you've got any questions, comments, thoughts about South this year, feel free to get them in the comment section below. If you're enjoying the team by team previews and the NRL SuperCoach content, please give the video a like. Subscribe for all the fantasy sports content on the channel. And other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.